Jasmine Warga, have you ever seen a flying saucer and or a ghost?
I have not seen a flying saucer, but I do believe I've seen a ghost. When I was little, I was convinced there was a ghost who used to come to visit me in my room. And I have very strong childhood memories of this ghostly figure in my room. But my parents would tell you that's a nightmare that I had repeatedly as a kid. But no, I've sadly never seen a flying saucer, though I'm always looking for one. I would love. I am fascinated by all this new info coming out about UFOs that our government's admitting there are things that the U.S. Air Force has no idea what they are. And I don't know if you saw, I think it was I forget what country it was, but like a top retired government official was like talking about how like, yes, there's definitely UFOs and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so I'm so here for that. Like, I would love to see a UFO, but I've never seen, I've yet to see one. But my youngest daughter is super into space and really wants a telescope. So maybe I'll have a better vehicle soon to look for one.
That would be perfect. Although I think I used to ask the second part of that question was, have you seen a flying saucer and do you believe in them? I've dropped that second part because believe in them, don't believe in them. It's a thing.
That's
we're not,
don't believe in them. Who's on this podcast is saying that? No.
Hopefully we'll all get to see them before too terribly long. And they'll have all kinds of solutions, hopefully, that we can immediately implement.
I hope so too. That sounds great.
Or they'll take us over and it'll be terrible. Either way, one or the other. And I also, while we're here, I wanted to talk a little bit about astrology, because you've got it proclaimed on your website that you are a big believer in astrology or a big fan. How would you word it?
Yeah, I'm really into it and interested in it. I have friends who are much bigger experts than I am, but yeah, I'm really into like the zodiac and knowing like what your sun sign is, your moon sign is, and your rising sign is, and all those things, and was very interested in what signs my kids would be and all those things. And my brother, who is super not into astrology, will always tell me that the zodiac is junk, and I tell him that sounds exactly like what an Aries would say. So he is living up to his sign. Yeah, I just think it's really a fun kind of way to think about yourself or other people in your life. I find it fun.
I used to be a bit dismissive that I had a girlfriend in college who was extremely into it and got me into it a bit. And I learned that was born on a cusp of Leo and Virgo. So I'll have frequent flights of I must be the greatest person that ever lived, followed immediately by I must work harder, I'm not nearly good enough. I had to go, and until I heard that, like, oh, that makes sense. That's the first thing I've heard that, yes, okay, that perfectly encapsulates these two disparate parts of my personality. I've got you. Are you able to use charting, and do you do astrological charts for your characters?
I do think about what their main sign would be a lot of times, but I don't go anything further than that. Though I should, now that you're saying that, that gave me a good idea to really do really fun way. But I do always know, like, even if it's not in the book, if they're like what sign they are. Like, Cora is a very classic Virgo, so it's really funny that you brought that up. But yeah, so I think about what their sign is. Not so much like in the weeds of what their whole star chart looks like.
I don't know if that would be useful or if that would just be one of those activities that feels like writing but isn't.
I mean, it sounds fun either way though, so I'll probably be. I don't know if a rover has a star sign. That's an interesting question.
Well, then it would also be a question of as the rover approaches different planets, how those impact him.
Exactly.
Now, you're in a new house, I assume, as you pass the actual planets. Really upset today. What is going on? Oh, I'm too close to Venus. That makes sense. We'll get closer to Mars. I'll be fine. And do you use that as are you to the point where you think you can maybe predict your future? You know that this is going to be a better day to write or publish than another, or not quite there?
No, No. You know, I will do. I like to use tarot cards too, but I always say that it's not about predicting the future for me. It's about understanding my present moment better, and that's like how I use astrology too, to be like, am I reacting to the situation in this way because I'm a Taurus, or like when I pull certain cards, being like, what is that telling me about how I'm feeling about what's going on right now? Because I definitely like don't think of myself as like a psychic or like a diviner of future information, but more I feel like all of that stuff, like my relationship with all of that kind of stuff, is more about like better, like kind of like a therapy psychology use of it, of like better understanding my current moment.